Twisters.
This is a podcast where we take movies and twist the plot to see if we can make them better, and if not, more prankier.
At the moment, we're talking about teen movies from the 80s.
On this episode, Class from 1983.
I'm Emma. Adios, Mr. Morose.
I'm Anders, and that's Mr. Nipple-Nose to you.
My quote that I chose was adios, Mr. Morose, and you said that's Mr. Nipple-Nose to you, and they actually fit quite nicely together.
Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that fun? I just realised that.
That reminds me of a thing. So we have this thing in my house where my 6-year-old, she really loves and has loved since she was a baby when things that aren't necessarily supposed to be congruent fit together, right? And if, for example, if you find like one time I remember we had like a baby bottle and it fit inside a cup perfectly. And then we just looked at each other and she goes, it fits perfectly. And we're forever trying to find things in our lives that fit perfectly together. And when you find the perfect fit, the perfect snugness, I think that it gives you power beyond all recognition and belief. And you know that everything in life will be okay. Hence these quotes. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying.
Now, we're ready to talk about the film Class, which, speaking of age, is as old as me because this is another movie that came out in 1983, if you can believe it.
Wow.
This one's a real doozy.
I want to do a thing, a different thing for this one.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it.
And I don't know how this is going to go, so if it sounds bad, we won't do it again. But I would like to play you the audio for the trailer for Class.
I love this.
Okay.
I love this.
And there's a few reasons why. I'd like to discuss it.
Okay.
Number one, it tells you everything you need to know about the film.
Great.
Number two, it's just kind of wild. It's just kind of wild. And number three, the voice of the person who's narrating it is like an interesting choice.
Ooh. In what way? Sexy?
Well, let's see what you think. Let's see what you think.
All right, I'll tell you.
Let's see what you think.
Right.
I will also add in any audio description that's needed, just in case you're not clear what's going on.
Thank you. Okay, good. Okay. You're bringing a lot of heat, and I'm
Bring a
really
lot of
appreciating that, and I'm really excited. Do we want people at home to close their eyes?
I assume...
No, it's all... I mean, I guess it's all audio. So
they should be closing their eyes anyway, anytime they listen to an episode of Plot Twisters.
Unless you're driving, operating heavy machinery, or, like
still
painting,
close them. Do it.
Close those eyes, right? Because that portrait will look even better.
Yeah.
Close them up.
This is a sensory experience. And you know that thing about, like, if one of your senses is offline, the other ones become stronger?
Exactly.
To really experience... If you've had your eyes open whilst you've been listening to Plot Twisters, you've only been hearing half the story.
Exactly. You suckers. You don't even miss the whole point. You missed the whole... You've been seeing it in black and white, and this podcast is color, baby.
There's like other frequencies in there that you don't know about.
Yeah, what's the frequency, Kenneth? You haven't even heard it because you've been having your dang eyes open. Cut your hands off and touch this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Think about it. You know it. Yeah.
Here we
All
go.
right, I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Okay, I'm queuing it up. I'm sorry if this sounds terrible. Okay, there's an ad, and so this we can't have this because they're not paying to advertise on the podcast. So let's just wait for that to be finished. Oh, it's unskippable. Okay. It's unskippable.
It's unskippable.
No. Okay.
The best ads always are.
It takes a lot for a boy to make the grade at the snootiest prep school in America.
I killed a guy. What's the worst thing you've ever heard?
That's Rob Lowe.
I cheated on my SAT.
That's Andrew McCarthy.
Get Mr. Scholarship.
It takes money.
I've never seen such a vulgar display of wealth in my entire life.
Rob Lowe's a rich guy.
How do I get one?
It takes experience.
So, you girls live around here?
This is Andrew McCarthy making a fool of himself in front of
It
ladies.
takes class.
You jerk, Clyde.
You and your dance committee have really made an indelible impression on our sister school. You are the first student in the history of Vernon Academy ever to be banned from Foxfield until, and I quote, the day you die.
It's at times like this that a boy needs a friend.
You look troubled, my son.
That's Rob Lowe
They are
dressed
the
like
only
Jesus.
females within 100 miles. There is still a place where thou canst journey
There's
to.
some ladies' butts. Andrew McCarthy's just got in the car with an older woman.
Do you?
Now they're doing it in an elevator.
How old is she? Mid-30s. And she really? And you really? Good.
Still doing it.
Aren't I? Oh, man.
Oh man.
Class.
I love you.
The story of what happens when a boy's best friend
Ready for this?
Jonathan, this is my mom.
turns out to be his best friend's mother.
Jonathan? Evidently, you and I have something in common.
Sex.
have done it if I'd known who you were.
We've all done things that we're ashamed of.
Hey, I got it. I'll drop dead. Wouldn't that be nice, huh? No, better yet, you shoot me.
Now Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy are fighting.
For a long time. Sorry. A very long
Rob
time.
Lowe, Jacqueline Bissett, Andrew McCarthy, Cliff Robertson. Class, the story of a friendship that's in a class by itself. Class, coming soon.
Was that a 7-year-old child?
That's what
doing
I'm
the narration?
saying.
Is
That's
that a
what I'm
little
saying,
tiny,
right?
Little tiny innocent child
Like
going.
it sounds like
And then Andrew McCarthy had sex with Rob Lowe's mom. Isn't that cute?
who was that person who was on SNL and has like quite like a young sounding squeaky voice? Kristen Shaw, is it? Like it sounds like her or
yeah.
something, you know.
A little Christian Shawley,
It's
right?
just a really odd choice for yeah.
It sounded like what's her name, Nancy Cartwright, who does the voice of Bart Simpson.
Oh yeah.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like a fully grown adult woman doing the voice of a small boy.
I wonder if it was Nancy Cartwright because the timelines add up, right?
But like, yeah. Before the Simpsons got big, maybe Nancy Cartwright did voices of movies that have the most insane plot line of all time.
Yeah. I have no
Of
idea.
all
How
time.
would I find that? I don't have no idea how I'd find that out. Maybe I can.
Here's what you
Google
do:
it
go to Google.com and Google it. Did Nancy Cartwright do the voice of the trailer? Leave it for the ages. We have bigger things to discuss than who did the voice from the trailer of this movie.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about first? What do you want to talk about first? Hey,
So-
have you ever seen the movie Class, everybody? What do you want to talk about first?
If you didn't get it from the trailer, so just quickly, it's about two boys in a boarding school, and one of them starts seeing an older woman, and then it turns out it's the other guy's mum. Like that's it.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. What? No. I want to. It's got to be you. You've got to go first. I think.
All right.
You've got to say first.
Okay. First of all, okay. This movie starts out and it's like, bunch of dudes doing a prank. Everything's fun. It's the early 80s. Look who it is. John Cusack. Pretend it and then put the girl's underwear on. It's fun. And then it just hits you in the face all of a sudden. Boom. You just had sex with your best friend's mom. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're in a real pickle, aren't you, son? Right? And then there's like a really gruesome, very long fight scene at the end where they like really
kick
hurt
the
each other.
bejesus
They
out of
kick
each other.
So many bejesus. And then they're like, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
We're cool. We cool, right? Hey, dog, we cool, right? Yeah, we cool. Please don't date my mom anymore, though. But we cool.
It ends
didn't
with a
see that.
It ends with it's the fight, and then they make a joke, and then it's credits.
Totally. Joke done. And the joke is a reference to when Rob Lowe's mom kept calling Andrew McCarthy saying, I don't want to be alone and I want to be with you.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And he goes, the dog died. But actually, nope, it was my girlfriend who's your mom.
Yeah.
On the phone. And not even girlfriend. Just lady who I've found compatibility in the bedroom, but usually in public. They had sex in an elevator in front of humanity.
I think you could say that they definitely do have like feelings for each other. Like it's not just like a random hookup. They do seem,
that's
they're
fair.
like,
That's fair.
Yeah.
They're boyfriend, girlfriend ish. They like each other. He says he loves her.
Like she's really upset about it when. Yeah.
When she finds out that the young man that she might be in love with is in fact her son's roommate,
and also
wouldn't you feel a little bit
possibly,
whoopsie?
like,
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also a small. You'd feel a little bit oopsie doopsie. You know what I mean?
A little bit.
You'd walk in and be like, oh, inside you'd be thinking, my face is red. Oh, geez. All the gin joints in all the world and all the young men that I could have seen being humiliated at a bar and thought, I'll get together with you. It just was a bit. I've never been in that. Let's just for a second. Have you ever been in a situation like this before, Emma?
Like
the
what?
Characters in this movie.
What?
Have you experienced this firsthand?
Like what? What do you mean?
You know, where you're you find out that the person you're in a relationship happens to be somebody's dad or mom, or you're somebody's dad or mom.
I'm not anyone's dad or mom, and I haven't
Okay.
had any relations with anyone who was anyone else's dad or mom, as far as I know.
That you know about. Bam. You've never walked into a room and realized that your secret lover is also has a different relationship to somebody that you know, and therefore it's awkward. Me neither.
Never.
Cool. If you had, if you were Andrew McCarthy, which I feel like is an easier person to like get your head around, at least for me it is. What would you do? What would you do if you found out that your partner, secret older lover, is actually your roommate's parent? What would you do?
It's really hard. That is really hard because I wouldn't end up in that situation. I don't think
You don't know that.
But it requires such a massive lie on behalf of both of them. He's lying about his age. She's lying about the fact that she has a husband and a family. I don't think I'm in a situation in my life where I can imagine committing to such a monumental lie. But okay, let me try and and say if I was in the situation.
Just try it on. Get into that situation. What would you do? And also, like, maybe you didn't go outright and say I'm older than I am, but maybe age didn't come up, right? And like,
he literally says he's doing a PhD. I mean, you can't do a PhD as a 17-year-old unless you're super smart. I like to think I would just be like, oh God, oh no, this was terrible, this was bad, I'm so sorry. Let me own up to everything and confront everyone, and let's have a healthy healing conversation about it. Let's go see a therapist together and talk it through and share our feelings and communicate and get it all out in the open and try and move on.
Knowing you, Emma, that is exactly what you would do.
Yeah.
You would go.
I'd just handle it in a really healthy way, is what I'm saying.
Yep. All right, everybody, stop the music, stop everything. We need to talk
no drama,
first and foremost. Let me just
what can we all learn from this experience?
Yeah, I'm gonna send a message on the family WhatsApp and say family meeting. Bring a snack. Don't bring a friend, and bring an open mind.
Yeah.
Right, and then we're all gonna sit around and go, two of us have something in common. Do you know what it is?
It's your mom's.
It's your mom.
It's your mom. It's a healthy attitude towards communicating and being open. Let's go deeper on that.
But we're just gonna tell everybody what it is, and now you have two dads, and then that would be fine. Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would end very, but like you can understand, like, and that's the whole conceit of this movie is like, hey, fun, like like bros at college or whatever. No, this is a question. What would you do if you're in this situation? Is that not what we're supposed to? Am I doing that thing where I try to look for whatever the moral is of the story or something? What would I do?
Yep.
What would I do in this situation is the question that I immediately asked myself.
Well,
and have been grappling with
what
ever
is
since.
the answer?
Here's the answer.
Run
okay.
away.
I would, if I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be honest for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's the best policy. Number 2, I don't know how to lie without you knowing. And by you, I mean humanity. Okay. But also you as in you. And number 3,
I am wily.
You'll read it all over my face. It's
Yeah.
why I don't have a poker face. I can play poker in the dark.
Mm.
I can play poker in the dark. But in the bright lights of the day, you would tell by the awkward, squirmy smile and the sweats that I would be lying. And so, I'm just,
And you
I'm
would
like
do
Abe
that thing where you
Lincoln.
go like, well, it's kind of, I like, well, I guess, no, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I'm fine. I'm cool. It's cool. We're cool. You're cool. This is cool.
I cool. We cool. Here's the thing. We cool.
All fine. And I have to go now. Goodbye.
You know what I would do? I would actually genuinely probably just tell my roommate, oh, like it didn't work out. No follow-up questions. And I would live with the shame and the
You'd lie
fear.
through a mission.
Yep.
Mm.
No, I mean, I would stop seeing her immediately, okay? That's me being real, all right? Hey, if you're dating someone and you find out that their son is your roommate, that's a deal breaker.
It's kind of gross, right? Like it's
Right?
Like it's kind of gross.
That's
like,
That's a deal breaker. That's a real
red
edible
flag.
thing, and there's a whole. That's a red flag. Okay, I know she's fun, right? We all saw her at the bar. She's a lot of fun, but she's your friend's mom, and you don't date your friend's mom. I don't think. I think that's in the Bible or something. And so I would probably just break
Unless
it
your
off.
friend's name is Stacy.
Stacy, and she was, she had it going on. Fountains of Wayne forever. The thing is, I feel like most things in life, if you just ignore it, it'll go away. Okay, and it was 1983. It's not like we had phones and the internet and email and stuff. So if you tell this friend of yours, this lady friend, it's not going to work out anymore. Eventually, she's going to stop trying to call you, probably, right? And then one day at your high school reunion, years in the future, maybe it's 40 years in the future, and they're back together, and they're older men, and, they're talking, and Rob Lowe goes, yeah, my parents, they've both, passed on. And then you've had one too many, gin rickies, and you accidentally go, I used to buy it with sex, Mom. And then Rob Lowe goes, sorry, I can't hear too well in my left one. What did you say? I used to have sex with your mom. And then they have a fight, and they're old, and that's worth watching.
That's funny.
That's funny. Old people fighting funny.
Yeah.
What else did we think about this movie? What are the other thoughts on the film?
So I had a prediction that I made in my head. I had a little chat with myself.
Nice. Good.
And
good.
my
good.
prediction that I made to myself was the following. That I thought that when we both came together in this audio digital space to discuss this film,
right,
you would talk about the thing you would talk about was the morality and the situation that the characters were going through.
You know me too well.
Whereas I would want to talk about how the film is made and how the material is presented. And that's based on the one I'm thinking a lot about the Tom Cruise one. What's it called? Hot Stuff.
Risky
Fun
Business.
Times. Oh yeah, Risky Business. Right. When we
Which
did
you loved, and I thought was.
I didn't love it. Look, I said at the time.
You
okay,
love that sex
I
movie
said
so
at the time,
much.
I don't want this to become I love the sex movie.
You did. Crystal ball, lots of sex, filmed well, smoky, shots. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You thought I would grapple with the morality, and you'd like the old cinematography. As they
I
say.
thought this would be the same in the sense that I I didn't spend any time thinking about what I would do if I was the people in this film at all.
So interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
I love that about
I
love
know.
that about us. I always think, what would I do?
Yeah.
That's why I like time travel movies so much, because I would love to travel through time.
Yeah.
And I hate cheating movies because I'm not a cheater. You know,
Fair enough.
and also I'm repressed, and I grew up in a very, very, very interesting place. So, you know, these moral quandaries really, really spin my brain out. Something fierce.
Yeah, and I think I this is making me cringe at myself before I even say it, but like I feel like it's correct that my approach to the situation would want to be to like talk about it and go to therapy and discuss it, and I suppose that's my that's my thought process with every moral quandary I'm presented with, is like, oh well, I just talk about it and think about it and work through it.
I love that. And my response is, just don't say anything and it will go away probably real fast, but feel guilty on the inside forever.
Yeah.
What was this movie like, filmy wise? Was it done good? Were the camera angles good?
So, this film, I think, had a lot of wasted grip it and rip it potential. I think that this is basically two movies smushed together, and it should have been one or it should have been the other. Movie number one is a silly, horny, slapsticky comedy. Movie number two is a gritty drama. And it tries to do both, and it succeeds at doing neither. The film I would have liked to see, I think I would have found more intriguing, is the second one, the gritty drama. True. I think this film had so much potential to be really dramatic. And from what I read a little bit about the film and about the history of it. From what I read, it seems like that was the original intention, and then they decided to rework. And then they decided to rework it and add in more jokes and silliness. I think that it's a really intriguing subject, and you know, they kind of did it in The Graduate, right? So like that's the film that sort of does this topic in a very interesting way. But it's like, obviously there's a lot of morally questionable stuff in terms of adults involving in sexual relations with people who are much, much younger than them. I'm going to give this film the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's over 18.
He's 18. He's a senior in high school.
Yeah, fine.
We can believe that they made a big point about like, he's a senior and like he's about to go to Harvard. So let's assume he's 18.
Because I don't really want to go into it if he's not. And I think we've already talked about that. And we also don't really need to talk about it because I think we all know. But assuming he's 18, I think that what I enjoyed about the relationship between Ellen and Jonathan is I think they did manage to create a good sense of chemistry and a good feeling of attraction between the two of them. And I think, you know, the scene where they're having fun together and then the scene where it's clear that she's really cut up about it, it's quite powerful and it's quite moving.
Yeah, it was
and
really
I'm
good.
not saying
really good.
I don't think it's glorifying that kind of age gap. I'm certainly not saying that I think that kind of age gap is I'm not saying whether or not I think it's okay, but just from a narrative perspective, these kind of very socially unacceptable taboo relationships are very interesting to explore in film because it allows the audience, you know, as you experience, it allows people to put themselves in the shoes of the character and think, what would I do?
Sure.
And just get a bit more of it's a bit more open-minded, right? It makes you more open-minded. And if you heard something like this happening as an anecdote, someone said, oh, guess what happened? You know, there were two boys at the school and it turned out you would rush to judgments about that situation. You would rush to snap judgments, and it's so easy to make judgments on other people's lives when you have very limited information. So I do like seeing films where it's a very difficult situation. It's one that has a lot of conversation about it. It's one that has a lot of socially unacceptable factors in it, because it allows you to humanize those people and understand their story and understand why might somebody be driven to this, because it happens. It does happen. Like throughout history,
sure.
There have been all sorts of crazy relationships in all kinds of different situations. And I'm coming from a place where I have a generally empathetic I'm a generally empathetic person. I also want to see the best in people, and I hope that most people are good. And so, I find it interesting to kind of go, how could this end up happening? What would that feel like? What would that look like? How would it affect people? What would the outcome be? I would have liked to see the film where this happened. It was taken more seriously. It was less about the jokes. It was less about the kind of cheap shots and that kind of thing. But you see these two people's lives fall apart because of it. And it sounds kind of sadistic to say I want to watch a film in which people's lives fall apart, but that's what tragedy is. It's about being cathartic, right? And so it's like having that kind of romance and then it all falling apart, and you've got this repressed housewife who isn't valued by her husband and is a trophy wife and isn't fulfilled, and she falls in love with this young man, and then that all falls apart and it's all dreadful, and he's the rest of his life no one can ever live up to her because all this kind of thing. I think that's a really powerful story.
But and it makes you wonder, why did they do this in the first place? What was the drive of making a movie that touched on such a taboo and such a pivot of a storyline if they then ended in like a big fight that then goes, it's fine, right? They got right up to bat, but they just whiffed it, Look, the relationship outside before we found out, she's the mom, was like, cool, I get it. It's very, all right, yeah, that's great. Very good. She goes up to him. She makes it all happen. She's the one who says, let's have sexy times in an elevator. And more importantly, I think she's the one who says, I love you first. But then it's like, it's so sad. I was so sad when she was like depicted as, she goes from being like fun, sexy lady to like bad mom, repressed, bad husband.
Yep.
You're going to do what you're told. You're crazy. She goes to a mental institution.
I know.
The last we hear of the mom is she is in a medical facility.
Yeah.
And the boys are like, punch you in the face, but we're still bros.
Mm-hmm. It's a very, very different film when you see it from her perspective.
It's dark as anything, And this is supposed to be a fun like funky movie from the 80s. I mean, like the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is in this, and also John Cusack. But it didn't overpower the fact that this movie was dark as midnight in a thunderstorm. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that was there, but it's there it's there when you think about it. But when you don't think about it, it doesn't feel that at all. When you're just like
everything is there
like,
when you think about it.
I saw this meme the other day, which was something like, "How to be depressed, be alive and pay attention."
Would you like to influence your own social media feed? Well, if so, why don't you go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube at Plot Twisters Pod.
So we talked about how this is one of two films, and we discussed what the dark timeline would be like, what the sad, gritty, awful, terrible, socially challenging, controversial version of this film would be.
Right.
Now I want to do the other one. It's much more silly and it's all funny, and maybe somebody gets like a cream pie in the face.
I love that so much, and I want to make a suggestion right here and now. Okay, so
let's go.
It's 1983, but I'd like to, my suggestion is, how like Stranger Things was really popular because it was like a new thing that was referencing stuff from the 80s, and it was done in a very homage-y way, but with a new pacing and sort of understanding of what content people want, right? Because I'll be honest, this movie was a little bit boring at the beginning, okay? 80s movies are a little bit slow sometimes. What I'm saying is, I'd love it if this is a thing that was made today, and it's a thing called Class, and it is a throwback television show potentially set in the early 1980s in a high school, but it's made today. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Okay, and I'm not in a corny like way like that 70s show. That's a reference to those older people out there, which was a show that was a reference to even older people. What I'm saying is an authentic recreation where they can really dig into the themes of the 80s, but also it's just a lot of fun. It's just like, a lot of like pranks and stuff.
Here's a question. Hard-hitting media commentary incoming.
Yo.
Could you, in these modern times, 2022, make
like these.
a television show with loads of sex in it and loads of silliness
Yep.
about people in school
Yo.
without it being gritty and controversial and depressing at the same time? Because in the previous episode, I've talked about how loads of teen content now is all about us being as edgy as possible and being as controversial as possible, and like Euphoria, it's all sad and everything's terrible. Like, could you do it now with it being funny? And
yeah, I think so.
Do you think so?
I think so, because here's what all right, I'm getting excited. Let me just draw it down. I don't want to peek in.
I hate it when you get excited.
Right? I love it when I'm calmer than the ocean. The still ocean, right?
Okay.
What's a still ocean? Probably like the Dead Sea or something.
Oh my God, did you know that the tide doesn't come in and out? The world just moves.
What?
The water stays in the same place and the world moves. Did you know that? I love that.
Oh, it's like that thing where if you want to go fast in space, don't move the spaceship, move the space around it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, we've done gritty. And by we, I mean society, and like we've gotten to a place where nothing shocks anybody anymore. People can stare at their phones watching like brutal murders or like twisted weird realities or like, that thing with like Westworld where nothing matters and you're inside a computer and so you can kill people or whatever. Nobody cares. And they can do that on their coffee break, right? Because our brains have been fed all the content and we've gargled it all up and we've done our best and everybody's just kind of immune to it. Some of the shows that are coming out right now that are bringing pure joy and energy to people, I think, IMHO, right? That's an internet term, Google it, are shows that are like unapologetically kind of nice, okay? Or rather, unironically not ironic. So...
But those,
I just,
but
I just,
when was the last time
just
you watched
saying,
a thing where it was just funny and there was no emotional, hard-hitting core? Like I'm thinking like sex education. It's funny and cute and nice, but it's also like, social issues.
No. This show, when was the last time I watched something like that? Well, I mean, hey, for all the parents out there, if you watch a TV show called Bluey, it's absolutely fantastic. Okay?
I see.
Okay? And I'm not pitching you some cornball nonsense. I'm pitching you a show that's good for teenagers, but it's just some kids who are at a private boarding school who mess around, and maybe at night, Andrew McCarthy's character and I don't know, whoever else is. Who else was in this movie? I'm already forgotten. I've already forgotten. Sexy Rob Lowe. So maybe at night, sexy Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy's character have a couple of chats about like what it's like to be a teenage boy or something. But I don't want it to be heavy. I want it to be like, give me more pranks where they make that guy wear his underwear and he goes outside and gets in trouble.
Good, clean fun. That's what we want.
Good, clean fun.
That's what we're missing.
Fun.
Good, clean fun.
Good,
jokes.
Yeah.
Some silly pranks. Maybe a couple of sex jokes. Like, oh my God, I met this great girl last night. Oh yeah, really? How did it go? Yeah, I took her out for dinner. Then we had a little smooch after. Oh, she sounds great. Who was this woman? It was your mom.
Hey! As long as you didn't have sex with her. Long pause. Then he goes, not yet. And then they go to class and they learn about history. Yeah, no, yeah,
And the
yeah, yeah.
and the professor turns around and he's got like a sticker on his back that says "Kick me."
Kick me, exactly. And then there's this thing where like they go to the football game and all the cheerleaders cheering, and then somebody's made like one of the jocks has gotten all the nerds to help them make like this thing where I don't know, they get to like see it. It's a high school movie, so bear with me. Like they get to see some nakedness, right? You know, because of science.
Ooh.
And they press the naked button, and the robot. There's like a hypnotizer, and it makes all the cheerleaders dance, and then they're all like, "It's just so sexy," you know. But then it goes on the fritz, and it stops, and all the cheerleaders start punching everybody. You know what I mean? We're gonna see some boobs. Nope. And you get punched in the face, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm the boob now."
As long as somebody goes "Awooga," then I'm fine with it.
And also, is there like a dean who's the worst, and everybody's always trying to like get back at the dean because he's the worst, you know? And they try to,
but
they try to kill him or something.
It is the dean from Community.
Dean, ding, 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 ding. Right? Yeah. Oh,
It's a
what's
spin-off.
Dean got to do with it?
It's a spin-off. It's what's his name? Dean Shelton.
Dean Pelton.
Pelton.
Dean Pelcher. Dean. What is his name?
I want to say Pelton.
Dean Pelton. Dean, 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 Dean. Dean, Dean, Dean,
Craig,
Dean.
Doctor. No, I don't know why I put
Craig?
a doctor. It's Craig. Craig. Can I just say it's so funny how Americans say Craig?
Craig?
Craig.
Craig?
Because it's
Craig?
Craig. You know?
Craig.
Craig.
Hi, this is my friend Craig.
It's my friend
He
Craig.
lives in a... Craig.
Because Craig
You know
is
what?
like egg. Craig. Anyway, it's Dean Pelton, and it's his spin-off show, and it's him, Dean Pelton from Community, who, if you haven't seen Community, what are you doing? Gets a job in a high school.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
And he's the dean. All right. Let me just pitch you one tiny more additional pivot.
All right, one more.
Like a real screwball, sort of like unexpected.
Okay.
Dean Pelton is the dean of this school, and it's all very hijinksy. It's all very like clean fun, and it's like sort of throwbacky, and it's genuine and very sincere. But it's like a lot of like hijinks and pranks and stuff, right? But he's actually in an experimental virtual reality thing, and it's not really happening. And every so often there's a glitch, and he realizes that he's wearing VR goggles and he's in a current day high school where everything's terrible. Do you know what I mean?
You had to do the thing. You had to do it, didn't you? There's always look. Okay.
There's always a thing. We always have to spin it and fold it and twist it.
We skew to one genre, which is sci-fi.
Explain. Wait, no, you're right. I understand. You've explained it. I
was gonna say he goes on a date with the woman, and then it turns out it's Rob Lowe's mum, and then he meets her, but it's actually just Dean Pelton in a wig.
Sure, exactly. And that's also great because
and he's like, "Oh, Jeffrey."
Oh, Dean, what have you done
and
now?
It's just an episode of Community.
It's just an episode of Community, but in the good old days before Troy
before
left. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Before it got bad.
Community.
But it was still good, but it's good but bad, you know? All I'm saying is, and we'll leave this to the like executive producers of the show that they're going to take over.
Yeah.
It's sincere, it's one thing, but then briefly for a moment it's something else. But the minute that the viewer gets a hold of kind of what that is, that part is gone, and it's just straight up formulaic 80s hijinks.
Yeah.
Okay? And before anybody asks, Rob Lowe is attached to this project. Okay?
Yeah.
But he's the vice president of America
Yeah.
who happens to live next door to the campus.
I love
So
that.
he's around all the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And also the president's there, and also like, you know, maybe like they invent a secret new type of, you know, military grade gum that is unchewable or something, and they sell it to the spies, and then they also go to the moon. I can't stop pitching space stuff and
he's
also time travel.
He's also Chris Traeger from Parks and Recreation, and it's a
He
crossover
is.
Parks and Rec community episode.
I'm here, and I'm literally excited about your school and this campus and Dean Pelton and also this fantastic super gum. We're going to win this war. Am I right, people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we did very well this time.
We did fine.
We did.
Hey,
we did. We had such a home run with the Dirty Dancing
Tapestry?
tapestry
The
that
tapestry.
it was inevitable that we were going to have a dud soon. All I'm saying is I want good, clean fun again. I want a TV show about youths with no edgy social commentary and no hard-hitting messages. Just let them have fun.
Bring fun back. Make TV fun again.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and everyone will be
wanna
watching the
learn.
show going, "Ooh, where's the cynicism? Where's the stuff that sucks? Where's the fact that life is dumb?" Nope, not on our show.
No, not here.
This show's just about fun.
Yeah.
It's not ironic. It's the 80s.
It's just ironic. Jarring transition. It's time to rate the movie.
All right.
On a scale of 1 to 5, red apples, shiny red apples. Anders, how many apples would you give this film?
It's 2 because it was so weird.
Yeah.
It's a 2. Hey, Rob Lowe. Sorry, dude. Your roommate's dating your mom. Isn't that weird? Go punch him in the face for 25 minutes and everything will be fine. This is a 2. What about you? What'd you give it?
I give it 1 for Rob Lowe. I give it a half for Andrew McCarthy. And I give it another half for John Cusack. My 3 favorite boys from the 80s.
Which, by the way, John Cusack was barely in this movie, but I'm so
But
with
he was
you.
there.
He was there, just getting ready to be Ferris Bueller, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
What? Whoa. Whoa, no.
My
Okay,
brain just went
sorry,
to a different
stop.
place.
What if John Cusack was
Right.
Ferris Bueller? Can you imagine? How would that go?
It would have been incredible.
do this.
So I was thinking about the Ferris Bueller kid. No, John Cusack's just sitting there waiting to be everybody's 80s fantasy and to be in all those movies.
So, yeah.
Which, by the way, we should watch more John Cusack movies. Am I wrong? Because we've only done Say Anything, and we should really do things like Better Off Dead.
Okay,
thing.
we'll do that.
But not today.
But not today.
Another day.
Because today is the day that you, listener, get a hold of things.
Get your stuff
Get a grip
together.
on it. Like, get out there.
Stand up, shout out loud. I'm going to be fine, probably. And mean it this time.
Take the metaphorical reins of today, grab them in your hands, and go out there and kiss your friend's mum. No, don't do that. Anyway, thank
She's
you.
so pretty, though.
Thank
She's
you.
so pretty. I
Thank
can't
you.
help it.
for listening to this episode of Plot Twisters.
Just a peck on the cheek.
Thank you
Leave
very
us a
much.
review on Apple Podcasts if you have the time.
We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.